A very good morning to all of you. My name is Namannoor Jabbal, and I am an executive in program management and assurance team at Infoceps Technologies, working from Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. I will basically be presenting my views on emotional intelligence and leadership topic today. Let's start. So, when we hear the term emotional intelligence, there are many questions which come up in the mind. Is EQ and EI same? Is EI actually needed in an organization? Why is it important? And so on. Let me tell you that emotional intelligence, which means the ability to perceive, understand, manage, and use your emotions, is actually needed in all walks of life. Not just in organization, but whenever you deal things personally in your personal life, emotional intelligence plays a vital role. Let's look at some numbers now. According to the article 70 plus women in technology statistics 2024, in exploding topics as of 2023, women held 26.7% of technological jobs. However, roles higher up in the organization chart, like CTOs or heads of engineering, have even lower representation of women. Now, why do you think this is? This is just because, due to several reasons, women either leave their jobs or they are basically stuck in the mid level managerial roles. We'll be discussing all these reasons in the coming up slides. Let's look at another report. Studies conducted by Hay Group Boston indicate that within the top 10% of the most proficient leaders, there exists no gender disparity in any EQ indicators. Now, EQ, which is the emotional quotient, is basically the measure to know how well a person is emotionally intelligent. And when you see these numbers, these clearly state that when we consider emotional intelligence with leadership, there is no major difference between men or women who is more emotionally intelligent. The numbers are really very insignificant, and that's why what stops women from getting into the leadership roles, that is the question for all of us. Let's move ahead. Now, emotional intelligence is a key to leadership, and we'll be understanding this in the coming up slides. Let's portray an example here. You have two women leaders, amazingly great, both techno savvies, Anita and Babita, in front of you. Both of them manage different teams of around 10 to 8 young techies, and they are very much inspired to move ahead with their organizational roles. But in spite of all these similarities, they have one thing which is different, and that is their leadership styles. Now, in order to know how their leadership styles are different, let us check how Anita and Babita behave in different scenarios. Here is the first scenario. A team member's issue is escalated. And what does Anita do? She empathize and understand the team member. She try to listen to the team member and ask questions to gain clarity of the matter. And she also ensures that she is serious about resolving the issue so that she can gain the confidence of the team member. Now, to find the resolution, she finds a solution together with the team member so that he feels inclusive. And after the matter resolves, she ensures that he's satisfied. Now, all these points cater to a leader who is actually practicing emotional intelligence in his or her own life. Now, let's check in the same scenario, what does Babita do? Now, Babita becomes defensive. She thinks that this is criticism to her leadership. So, what she does, without hearing the complete matter from the team member, she actually starts blaming him. Without much clarity, she misunderstands the situation, and eventually, the team member feels unheard and unsatisfied. Poor boy. Let's look at the second scenario. Here, the team is under high stress due to a tight deadline, and most of us have been caught in the same situation many times. Let's see what what Anita does as a leader. She recognized the signs of stress even before the team approaches to her. And even if she's not able to recognize, she has created an environment where the team can openly come to her and discuss about their problems. Once she's aware of the stress, she talks and try to understand why the stress is, and then in favor of the project and in favor of her team members, she tries to provide additional resources. She also checks if she can extend the deadlines, and again, keeping the communication open, she tries to get the resolution from the team members themselves. Let's check out what Babita is doing here. Now, Babita overlooks the signs of stress. She's continuously pushing the team to meet the deadlines. Now, she's unaware of the fact that if she does so, the team will become unproductive. Let's look at the third scenario. Well, there's a conflict in the team now. Let's check what Anita does to resolve that. She addressed the conflict directly with the involved members. She doesn't go and announce it in the whole team. She personally talks with them and tries to know the difference in their opinions. She empathizes with both of them individually. Empathizing is a very important skill, because if you empathize with someone, the person understands that you are trying to get into his shoes and therefore becomes more comfortable to share things with you. She finds the resolution together with with the team members. She promotes a positive environment so that there be an open communication where anybody in the team can directly approach her whenever they have any conflict with anyone else. Now, in the same situation, what does Babita do? She avoids addressing the conflict. Now, Babita is much concerned about getting the work completed, and therefore she thinks that getting time out of her busy schedule to resolve conflicts is of no use. But here she's mistaken, because what is happening? There's no coordination in the team, which will indirectly lead to getting more unproductive and getting the team not being able to work as they can. Moving ahead. Now, you have listened to both the scenarios. Anita and Babita, as individual managers, have tried to resolve the issues the way they could. Now, you tell me that which manager would you like to work with? I'm raising a poll right now. Please enter your responses in the poll you see in front of you, which says, whom would you like to work with, Anita or Babita? We are able to see the numbers. There are a few people who would like to work in Babita's team. Well, my preferred manager would surely be Anita. Let's move ahead with our slides now. Here, from the poll results, we can clearly see that Anita is the winner as a manager because everybody wants to work in her team. A few wants to work with Babita. Let's move ahead. Now, all these qualities which we saw in Anita or Babita's leadership styles, we have seen in our surroundings also. So when I was sharing both these scenarios, you might have definitely thought of some name or the other where you found these qualities. And generally in our environments, what we do, we see a blend of these qualities, maybe in one person, in one team, and so on. And therefore, it's really important that we work on our emotional intelligence so that we are able to make out for ourselves what is right and what is wrong when we are working in a team, and also to get to know for ourselves that what we are providing to our team. Now, all these qualities actually fall into these five components, which are the five components of emotional intelligence. The very first one is self awareness. Now, Anita was self aware of her emotions. She was aware of the fact that which emotions would actually work in her and her team's favor if she communicate or express it to her team. And that's why she was able to make use of the second component, which is of self regulation. She was able to regulate or control her emotions when dealing with her team members. Next comes is the motivation. Now when both these things, self awareness and self regulation, are met, you are actually motivated by yourself. And when you are motivated, you are able to motivate the people around you. It can be the team members, it can be your colleagues, it can be your bosses or leaders. And motivation, why motivation is actually important, it is very easy for you to get stressed before maybe a presentation or before maybe conducting a meeting. But when somebody motivates you, it can be anybody, your colleague, your team member, any junior, you actually feel happy about it, and you become more confident to deliver the task. Next come is the empathy. Now, as I already mentioned you, that empathy is important because it makes you feel comfortable in front of others whenever somebody empathizes with you. When somebody is getting into your own shoes, you actually, try to share whatever difficulties you have. And that is not only in professional lives, but also in our personal lives. We do share our personal feelings with people who we think are able to understand us. And creating this in a team environment is really very important if you want to succeed as a team. Last but the most important one, social skills. Even if you have all the four others and you are not able to actually communicate it with somebody, then it actually gets wasted. Social skills are really important. You should know what you should present in front of your team members, how you should actually look, what should you express on your face by your gestures and everything. When you talk, when you communicate with your team members, they actually feel that you are giving them that importance, which is your time, which Babita lacked in given in the third scenario, where she actually was not interested in resolving the conflict. When you do that, when you develop that, the team members actually open to you and try to share their feelings with you. Now, socializing not only means talking about work related stuff and getting comfortable about those. Even, some team lunch, maybe, or team dinners are really important for you to get comfortable with your managers, with your leaders, because that creates an environment telling them that we have a life after work also. And that is also important. Moving ahead, now let's see some real world examples. Empowering women through EI. There is Indra Nooyi, who is the former CEO of PepsiCo. She has achieved a lot in her life. Some of her achievements are mentioned here. She has ranked among the world's 100 most powerful women, ranked 13 on the Forbes list in 2014, and second most powerful woman on the Fortune list in 2015 and 17. Do you think it was easy for her? Do you think that she has applied emotional intelligence, or was it not needed for her? Definitely, she could have done nothing if emotional intelligence was not a part of her entire journey. And she has mentioned all these things in her memoir, which is My Life in Full, Work, Family, and Our Future. Now, she has talked about many things in this, but here we have listed down a few which we think are important from the objective of emotional intelligence. Now, these factors doesn't only apply to her life; it applies to the lives of all the women out there, Indian women, globally, all the women who are trying to build strong careers for themselves. The very first thing from here is family support. Now, when Indra uh, tried seeking job after her baby, her first daughter, she was actually stressed about raising her child, and that's why she sought out for help. She's accepted the help of her mother and mother-in-law alternatively, so that when she's busy at work, they are there at home to take care of her daughter. Now, what most of the women do, they try to manage everything by her own. She thinks that she'll be able to fulfill everything: household chores, the children, the husband, the family, and definitely the job. But that is not the case, because as it is rightly says that it needs a village to raise a child and to do all that matters for you. And therefore, when you want to actually get stronger with something, you have to less prioritize other things, or maybe delegate the responsibility to others. And that's why the strong point of Indra Nui, where she took help of her family members in raising the children when she's there busy at work, was one of the factors which reflected emotional intelligence. Another is organizational support. Now, when Indra's father was striving with cancer in India, she actually got 3 months of leave from the organization, traveled to India to take care of her father. Eventually, she lost him, but she joined back to work after 2 months. And at that time, the organization actually understand that she needed the time to get back to work and take care of her father at that present moment. This is one of the biggest steps the organizations can take care of whenever there is some problem which the employee is facing. They should definitely make such policies, enable it, and actually practice such policies which works in favor of the employees. Next is the workplace flexibility. Now, when Indra was actually pregnant, she wanted to work and she did not want to sit at home. So, her organization at that time offered work from home. Now, work from home has become very common for us post COVID, and that's why we think this is normal nowadays. But pre-COVID, the era was something different. And when she actually needed to work, she could do that because her organization offered her work from home to work when she was pregnant. Coming to the fourth factor, handling personal challenges. Now, these can be any of the factors. One factor which she has mentioned is that her daughters had to suffer with racism, and that's where Indra Nooyi stood with her. She emotionally supported, made her daughter strong enough to actually fight with the bullies, so that she's able to take a stand for herself. And that is only possible when the woman herself is emotionally intelligent, and that's the way she's able to raise emotionally intelligent children. The fifth factor is the leadership and appearance. Now, why is appearance a part of this? Because with our appearance, we can communicate a lot. If you want to become a leader, you should dress like one. And that's why it is rightly said that don't dress for the position you are at, dress for the position you want to reach at. And therefore, Indra mentions that it is really important for you to look like a leader in order to maintain your personality as a leader. Coming to the last one, advocacy for work life balance. Now, this has become really important after COVID. Now, in our scenario, what we are doing is most of the organizations have adopted full time work from home for their employees. Some have made a hybrid environment. Now, why are they doing so? Because post COVID, we are realizing that it is really important to make a work life balance if we want to, keep up with the uh, family priorities as well as the work priorities. Because before COVID, when we were working, we were actually in the office 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and in those scenarios we actually had to neglect some of our family priorities. But after COVID, we have actually learned how to manage with our work going on in the daytime, along with picking up maybe the kids from the school or getting the groceries done and so on, which actually may seem little things but actually matter a lot. Because if there's no vegetables at home, you'll not be able to cook food for yourself after office. All these things are really important to build an emotionally intelligent person. And that's why Indra Nui is a clear example of an emotionally intelligent person. Let's move ahead. Now, there are these two women who have actually uh, who have actually led Shiksha. They are the founders of this particular program. And the Cyber Shiksha, what does it do? It actually trains the underprivileged women in cybersecurity roles. So they are actually creating an impact in the lives of thousands of women by making them independent. Manju and Rama Vedashri, these two are the founders of it. Manju is the director of philanthropies and CSR at Microsoft India, and Rama Vedashri is the former CEO of the Data Security Council of India. Now, in Shiksha, what they have done, they have actually trained 4660 women under Cyber Shiksha Fundamentals program. They have actually trained 100 plus women under privacy module for women on break. And also, they have trained 1,000 plus women in their different cyber shiksha related programs. Now, by this, they have actually created an impact in lives of these women and continuing to do so since 2017. I would like to tell you a very interesting fact about Rama Vedashri. She has actually taken up running after the age of 50. So, after the age of 50, she has completed the marathon, which is the Great Wall of China half marathon, along with several other marathons. So, this is a very great example of emotionally intelligent woman, because in that age, she was able to, realize her emotional as well as physical capabilities. If you're not emotionally intelligent, you cannot actually perceive all these things. Let's move ahead. Now, we have talked about too many skills which we find in emotionally intelligent leaders. Let me tell you that this is a skill which can be developed, and if you think you are lacking in emotional intelligence, please don't worry, because here are some ways by which you can develop emotional intelligence within yourselves. So, the American Academy of Family Physicians states that there are these 10 behaviors people can practice to help build their EI. First is clarifying a daily intention. Now, what we have learned from childhood, we have learned to start our days on a very positive note because that sets the tone for the entire day. So, if in the morning you think the day will go stressful for you because there are too many meetings, too many calls, maybe an escalation which has come your way, in the morning, if you decide for yourself that whatever happens in the day, I'll be emotionally calm, I'll not panic. If somebody in my team gets achieves a failure, I will not bombard on that person. You will surely be able to achieve it because that is setting a tone for yourself for the complete day. Second is practicing self care. Now, self care, when I say self care, what does that mean? You need to take care of yourself, maybe listen to music, read books, whatever you like to do. Because when you are not stressed, you are not creating a stressful environment for everybody around you. Performing an emotional checkup. Now, this is also very important because from time to time, you should realize for yourself, you should basically judge for yourself, are you emotionally stressed? Are you too, maybe lacking the emotional well being skills? If that is so, then you should get help for yourself. Slowing down. Things are really moving very fast around us, all of us, especially women, because they try to, take everything on their plates. And therefore, it's our responsibility to slow down some things for us. Asking questions. Now, when you ask questions, you are actually giving time for people around you to make them understand that you value their answers. And you gain basically a clarity when you have lack of clarity of the situation. Creating space for emotions. Now, this is also very important because when you don't have, positive emotions around you, surrounding you, you also start feeling stressed. Being aware of others. The as important as your emotional intelligence is also important for others around you. Therefore, you should be aware that how your team members are feeling. Making an effort to connect with others, again, which comes under the communication skills, social skills, which is important as an emotionally intelligent leader. Apologizing when needed. So, in keeping your ego aside, keeping the attitude aside, what you can do is actually apologize when you make mistakes, because an emotionally intelligent leader will never ever blame others for the mistakes he or she has done. Beginning and ending the day positively. So, our elders have always taught us to pray before we go to sleep and after waking up in the morning. And that actually sets the positive note for the entire day. Let's move ahead to the conclusion. Here we have talked about that how emotional intelligence is a skill that can be learned, and we have discussed many ways about it. We have discussed what are the traits of an emotionally intelligent leader and how we can make use of them in our work lives. EI is important in leaders irrespective of their genders. So, male or female or any gender for that respect. It is equally important for both of them to be emotional intelligent because it is not a choice for us to, choose between if we want to work with a male leader or a female leader. We have to work in both the situations in some part of our lives. And therefore, in the survey statistics also we saw that emotional intelligence, there is no disparity between male and female, both are equally emotionally intelligent. EI is important both for a leader and the team for successful leadership. If you think that as a leader it is your duty to be emotional intelligent, you should also convey to your team members, and the team members should themselves realize that even I should create a positive environment around myself, be emotionally intelligent so that my leader is able to work with me freely. I would With the conclusion, I would like to share some examples of personal experience which I have found in my organization. I have the problem of PCOD and I tend to get too many mood swings a lot of time. And I have actually seen my organization in understanding the time when I go through such situations. There are actually people who have supported me, have actually came and openly talked to me about it. Whenever I need holidays, when I'm on my menstruation cycle, I have clearly asked my managers and they have granted me leaves for that also. Often we go on team outings. Actually, that's a monthly affair for us. Each month we go on team dinners, team parties. Quarterly we have our department parties, and we enjoy a lot there. So it's not just a team dinner which we go have it and come back. These parties are actually with lot of music, and all the people, Gen Zs, we can say millennials, all of us enjoy together. And irrespective of the age, people here are able to freely understand what we are trying to convey. And therefore I think it is really important, because for me, I am working in a positive environment, and it if it's helping me, it can help all of us present over here. So thank you so much. With that note, I would like to end today's session.